Chapter 14, 69. 2 week. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The goo refinement hall was filled with bright white light. The light was glaring. Nobody could look at it directly. An intense aura that was in between mortal goo and immortal goo showed that the goo refinement was at its most crucial step. Fang Yuan was bathed in the white light. His concentration was fully invested. Beside him, refinement path goo immortal. Sixth hair had a look of solemnness and nervousness. Now is the time. Suddenly, sixth hair spoke and dispelled the entire refinement path goo formation. Originally, the best way to refine heavenly secret immortal goo was to use light path refinement method. Other than that, other paths would only exert more effort for a weaker result. Some even caused an opposing effect. And at this final step, the refinement path goo formation needed to be shut down. The goo immortal had to personally complete this final step. This was the most unique part of heavenly secret immortal goo's refinement. Almost all other immortal goo had no such requirement. Only heavenly secret immortal goo could not be restricted by any rules. It had to be refined when it was in a state of freedom. Undeniably, this was a huge test to the goo immortal refining the goo. Because the goo immortal needed to take the place of the immortal formation at that instant and complete the final step of the goo refinement himself. But the goo immortal's control could not be excessive. Otherwise, it would be a form of restriction, and heavenly secret immortal goo would not be refined. This step required a peculiar balance. The intricacy could not be expressed in words. Only the goo immortal undergoing the refinement could experience it. At the final step, Fang Yuan's mind had countless thoughts, using wisdom path methods. He perfectly took over the immortal formation's workload. Yes, the surrounding white light was blinding, but Fang Yuan guided it back to a condensed form. Gradually, these lights formed into a circular shape around Fang Yuan. The huge circle had Fang Yuan at the center. Initially, there was only light, but after a few breaths of time, there was a material form. After a dozen breaths, the refinement hall's light had returned to normal. The ring had materialized and was the size of a house. It was white gold in color. The ring was quietly floating. Fang Yuan was at its center. Sixth hair held his breath as he felt excited internally. Refinement path killer, move heavenly light ring. It has finally formed. But we need it to rotate 7 times to refine the rank 7 heavenly secret immortal gummer. The first rotation. Fang Yuan willed as the ring started to rotate slowly. This first rotation took 15 minutes to complete. The first rotation is complete. Sixth hair let out a breath of turbid air. Second rotation. Fang Yuan's eyes, which were shut, slowly opened. Within his eyes, a profound light shot out towards the ring. The ring, which had stopped moving, started to move with his gaze. It rotated again. This rotation was faster than before. In just 7 minutes, it finished rotating. The second rotation is done too. Sixth hair clenched his fists. Third rotation. Fang Yuan breathed roughly. He continued to regulate his breath. He was not breathing normally, of course. He was using a refinement path killer move. His breath in the ring resonated as it started to spin again. This rotation was even faster now. It finished in an instant. The third rotation is done. Sixth hair's heart was pounding. The fourth rotation. Fang Yuan opened his mouth and started to hum. Under the effect of his voice, the ring started to spin violently. Soon, the fourth rotation was completed. We are already past half of the 7 rotations. But it will get even harder now because the rings will rotate even faster. It will not be easy to control. Sixth hair was oozing with sweat now. After the fourth rotation, Fang Yuan did not continue recklessly. He rested for a while before using his refinement path killer move to make the ring rotate. The fifth rotation. Fang Yuan's arms were naturally lowered, but at this moment, he slowly raised his arms. As if his arms were tied by 2 mountains, Fang Yuan slowly lifted them, like he was carrying something very heavy. The ring started to rotate on its own, but this was different from before. While rotating, it also started to ascend. It became further and further away from the ground. When it reached Fang Yuan's shoulder, there was a sudden pause. "Oh no!" Sixth Hair's expression changed as the ring exploded on its own. Boom! A huge explosion was suppressed by the refinement hall before it caused any severe damages. But Fang Yuan, who was at the center, suffered the full extent of the explosion's force. Puff! Fang Yuan's expression was pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Heavily injured, immortal Gu Man as before. Fang Yuan immediately activated this immortal Gu. His ever-useful method started to display its effect. Fang Yuan's heavy injuries became light injuries, but he had not completely healed. Fang Yuan was injured from refining rank 7 Heavenly Secret. Even though rank 6 man, as before, had some use, its time path effect could not completely get rid of his injuries. Fang Yuan's injuries this time were not simple. Heavenly Secret. Immortal Gu's refinement failed. This was not the first time. For the past several times, Sixth Hair failed in the middle of the refinement. This time they reached the end, but Fang Yuan still failed despite doing it himself. At once, Fang Yuan and Sixth Hair had ugly expressions. Fang Yuan had practiced a lot for this. Before the Gu refinement, he had used many luck path methods, but he still did not succeed. Gu refinement was like this. It was not easy to succeed. Even if one invested a lot into it, they might not gain anything. Their efforts might end up in vain. And most importantly, Fang Yuan's calamities and tribulations were impending. If he did not refine Heavenly Secret in time, Fang Yuan would not be able to do it before the tribulation. It is a pity. Sixth Hair sighed. No worry, even without Heavenly Secret, I am confident of passing. Fang Yuan waved his hand. His mind had returned to normal in an instant. Several days later, Fang Yuan came to a desolate area using the teleportation immortal formation and started to undergo his tribulation. Placing his immortal aperture, he opened the immortal aperture door. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A vast amount of heaven and earth, Chui rushed in like a waterfall, replenishing sovereign immortal aperture. The scene was simply too grand. Ying Wuxi and the rest were dazed. This time, in order to ensure that the tribulation went without a hitch, Fang Yuan brought the Shadow Sect immortals along. Bai Ningbing was also here, while Sure Air was inside Langya Blessed Land. Sure Air was not trusted by Fang Yuan. As for the rest, they had entered the sovereign immortal aperture before. When Fang Yuan underwent tribulations, they could help him. When other Gu immortals were attracted here and tries to attack him, they could go out and block those enemies for him. This was the human calamity. When Fang Yuan underwent tribulations, he would be noticed by Heaven's will. There was no helping it. Heaven's will tried all means possible to exterminate Fang Yuan. It would naturally plot, and after some time, his human calamity would appear. Unless we see it ourselves, it is absolutely hard to imagine that a person's immortal aperture could absorb this much heaven and earth ki at once. Sovereign immortal aperture. It is too powerful. I believe that even rank 9 venerables would not create such a scene when absorbing heaven and earth chi. The Shadow Sect immortals conversed and praised. Bai Ningbing snorted. Her gaze was flickering uncertainly. She was shocked in her mind, but she said, "You are underestimating the rank 9 venerables. Even though I have never seen a rank 9 immortal aperture absorb heaven and earth chi, after obtaining Bai Xiang's true inheritance, I learned that Bai Xiang's absorption of the heaven and earth chi, when he placed his immortal aperture, was far bigger in commotion." Ying Wuxi looked at Bai Ningbing plainly. Bai Xiang was rank 8. He had a rank 8 grotto heaven. Fang Yuan is only rank 7 now. He only possesses a rank 7 blessed land. The two cannot be compared. Furthermore, the sovereign immortal aperture is too huge. There are many places that have not been developed. Its potential is unimaginable. In contrast, Bai Xiang Grotto Heaven was already filled up back then. The resources were occupying the entire immortal aperture. These resources naturally expended a lot of heaven and earth chi. Bai Ningbing was silent. Wu Shi is right. Fairy Miao Yin laughed curtly. The other Gu immortals nodded in agreement. After a long time, the sovereign immortal aperture completed the absorption of heaven and earth chi. The tribulation began to form in mini-red heaven. Fang Yuan's current body was inside mini-red heaven. This tribulation was targeting Fang Yuan. It would not show up elsewhere. As for why he chose mini-red heaven, it was because this place was empty. It was once the place where he fought the immemorial year monkey. There were no resources here. His losses were minimized when fighting here. If they were in mini northern plains or mini southern border, the tribulation would destroy countless resources. That was not favorable to Fang Yuan. The sovereign immortal aperture is too huge. If we were the ones undergoing tribulation, how could we avoid destroying resources? But inside the sovereign immortal aperture, the tribulation cannot even cover the whole of mini-red heaven. He Lu Lan sighed with a tone of admiration. My shadow sect accumulated resources for 100,000 years before refining sovereign immortal fetus goo. Of course it is extraordinary. Ying Wuxi snorted coldly, saying proudly, a pity it all went to Fang Yuan. Bai Ningbing said casually, making Ying Wuxi stare at her in anger. What? Did I say something wrong? Bai Ningbing was fearless. She looked at Ying Wuxi provocatively, defending her face. Ying Wuxi breathed in deeply. He turned his head over. So what if sovereign immortal fetus goo was used by Lord Fang Yuan? He is the leader of Shadow Sect. He is on the same boat as us. Ha ha ha, Bai Ningbing laughed in a mocking tone. Ying Wuxi ignored her and stared at the newly formed tribulation, only to see that around Fang Yuan there was a dense poisonous fog. The poisonous fog was rumbling and had 5 distinguishable colors. This is a poison path tribulation, Lady White Rabbit said meekly. Or rather, the 5 poison tribulation, Ying Wuxi said. He had more depth of knowledge. Like what he had just said, the 5-colored poisonous fog formed into 5 giant monsters, a snake, scorpion, spider, toad, and centipede respectively. The 5 monsters encircled Fang Yuan in a threatening manner, but did not attack yet. They were gathering strength. As time passed, their bodies got larger. Why is Fang Yuan not attacking yet? Bai Ningbing frowned. Now was the best time to strike. As time passed, the poisonous beast would get stronger. But Fang Yuan's tactic was different from normal people's mentality. He waited until the 5 poisonous beasts reached their maximum strength. All 5 pounced towards Fang Yuan with bodies like mountains. Bai Ningbing and the rest held their breaths. The tribulation was so powerful that they were stunned even as just spectators. This was not an ordinary rank 7 tribulation. It was enhanced by heaven's will. It had the maximum power allowed by this world. Just this? Fang Yuan's eyes rolled as he vanished on the spot. Boom, boom, boom. At the next moment, thunderous sounds erupted continuously. Bai Ningbing and the rest watched with pin-sized pupils as Fang Yuan rampaged on the battlefield. The 5 poisonous beasts were completely suppressed by his countless attacks. A while later, the poisonous fog faded. Only Fang Yuan was left standing in the battlefield like a demonic god. He looked around the battlefield and stared at his own hands, muttering, Rank 7 heavenly tribulation is too weak.